What's up, you guys? Welcome back. And if you're new, thank you so much for being here. So I received a couple comments actually, a few days ago talking about how it's really not that difficult for felons to get a job. So I just wanted to talk about that for a second and break down some math of what my bills used to be when I first came home from prison. But before we get started, I live in Chicago and it's really, really windy. So if you guys can hear the wind, I'm so sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. I actually sat here for a second trying to film in between the gusts of wind because they're so loud. So you know, this city's crazy. But let's go ahead and get started. So I'm from a really small town, and I think it matters where you live. If you live in a small town and you're a felon, it can be 10 times harder to get a job. You know, if you live in a big city, your chances are a lot higher, right? Common sense. So, for example, in my hometown, there are 2 grocery stores, 3 gas stations, 1 Rite Aid, a Subway, a McDonald's, and like a factory. That's it. So the number of jobs are limited. There is not a job for every single person in that town. Just the straight math of it, right? So that was always difficult, and I never got my life together. There was other reasons why I didn't get my life together. Honestly, I didn't want to work a minimum wage job, but that just leads me into this point. It's very hard to make ends meet on minimum wage, which is the kinds of jobs that felons will get hired for. So if you want a career with 401k, benefits, dental, you're not going to get something like that as a felon more often than not. Of course, there are exceptions to this rule. Of course, I know people that are really successful and have careers as felons. It's just a lot harder for people. So on my minimum wage salary, I'm going to break down what my bills were in 2013. I was working 2 jobs until my daughter came home, and then after my daughter came home, because I was a single mom, I could not work 2 jobs because I needed someone to watch my kid, and daycare's only open certain hours, right? So I could only work from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. My job just happened to open at 7:30, so I was working 10-hour days for about $10 an hour, okay? I did get some commission bonuses here and there, but check it out. So my rent was $700. My electric was $150. My trash was $40. My water bill was $30. My food bill was about $200 a month. Now, that's probably being generous. I needed to pay for my lunch, our meals, my daughter's lunch for daycare. So it was probably more than $200, but I'm just trying to be generous a little bit here. My parole fees were $35 a month. Gas was about $100 a month. And I just happened to be fortunate enough to get daycare vouchers for 1 year. So that really helped me. I can't even imagine how I would have made it if I had to pay full cost for daycare. So if you add all of that up, my bills were $1,200 a month, $1,255 a month. That was my bills. So my check, if I work 40 hours a week at $10 an hour, that's $1,600 a month before taxes. After taxes, we'll say it's about $1,300. Now, if my bills are $1,255, that leaves me $45 out of that paycheck. Now, keep in mind, I did not include Wi-Fi, cable, my cell phone. None of that is in there. And the straight truth of it was, I had to overdraft my gas just to be able to make it to work, just to be able to pay my straight talk cell phone bill. You know, I had to overdraft my account. And the really embarrassing thing was, Reese's sister worked at the bank that I was overdrafting my account every single week. It sucked. It was horrible. I had to eat cup of soup at my desk at my freight broking job every single day while people were going out to Taco Grande and going out to all these fancy places for lunch. I had to eat cup of soup at my desk by myself. You know, I just couldn't afford anything else. You know, and I'm like, oh, I'm so busy. I can't go to lunch with you guys. Like, no, I'm broke. I can't afford anything. And I did not want anyone picking up the bill. So I was skinny AF. I know I'm small now, but I was a lot skinnier, eating cup of soup every single day. But I was so grateful and so blessed to have that job, to have my daughter, and I thought I was killing the game. But when you look at the math, I was struggling so much, I just honestly didn't realize it that much because I was so fortunate to have my kid and to be killing it, you know, in the sober life, not selling drugs. I was so blessed and thankful that I didn't even realize it. But now, Reese and I look back and we're like, man, how did we make it? When I met him, he was living with his grandmother. We did not have dishes when we first met. And I remember watching TV on a borrowed TV on the floor because we didn't have an entertainment stand or a real TV. It was like a really tiny TV. It's actually in my kid's room right now. It was like a 35-inch flat screen TV that we had to borrow. So that was all we had. But we were so happy and so grateful to be sober and to be alive and to be killing it. So yes, it is difficult for a felon, but it is not impossible. Never let these things stop you guys. But I love you. I will see you next time. Bye.